In this video, I'm going to be talking about the new S-Class toon that is coming to the game. We are going to be seeing another Clementine. And before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more content and information. Currently, we are looking at the 6-star version of Clementine, the Aftermath. So this Clementine has a leader skill, so all strong and fast teammates get plus 25% attack and a huge bonus to AP when attacking. All enemies also get minus 25% defense for 3 turns at the beginning of a wave. This is a very unique leadership skill, and it's one we haven't seen before. Firstly, the plus 25% attack seems a little low, being a 6-star. Usually we see plus 30% attack or 40% attack, so this is a little different than what we're used to. A huge bonus to AP when attacking does help because it gives you that nice plus 10 AP bonus. And something I don't really understand is why they said all strong and fast teammates instead of just saying all melee teammates, which encompasses both of them anyway. What's unique about this leadership skill is that all enemies getting that minus 25% defense for 3 turns at the start of each wave. This could be really effective if you have a fast rushing team. So with a toon like Clementine, I'm immediately thinking about Arav, who would go perfectly behind her. Of course, the plus 25% attack bonus is lower than what we're used to, but that minus 25% defense to the enemy makes up for that, in my opinion. It would mean if you were running an Arav team, you wouldn't have to use someone like Victor or Diego or another defense down character because you're already applying a minus 25% defense at the very start. I'd be interested to see how this operates with a toon that has, say, Stonewall, which prevents the toon's defense from being lowered, because if this is a leadership skill, would that override it? But overall, I think it would resist it. We would also say, like there are resist mods from defense down, but I don't expect that to really come into play because there are so many other things that players would mod against, such as stun, taunt, impair, daze, and so on. When I look at Clementine, I think I could actually make a turn 1 attack team that would work against a lot of different teams, to be honest, even against Angel, because I can make a team that does not rely on Dr. Stevens in order to rush on the first turn. But I'll get to that theory build after I kind of go over her just a little more. So when we take a look at her rush, she can deal 600% damage to one enemy, and then she can also remove all positive status effects from that enemy and all enemies adjacent. That can be a very powerful rush in my opinion because the different types of positive status effects are defensive buffs, attack buffs. It could even be like Pain Split is considered a positive status effect too, and that's actually how I remove Pain Split from L. I use my Priya. So far I think Clementine is a pretty interesting toon. That leadership skill is very unique. Now when we end up moving on to her active skill, it's a turn 3 active skill, so it's pretty slow in my opinion. This character gets focus for 2 turns and up to 3 teammates recover from impair and get 20 AP. The flat bonus of 20 AP is kind of interesting because you can actually calculate this pretty simply instead of doing a percent and having to know like the different math. So if it's 35% AP, it can be difficult for people to do the math on a 76 AP toon in their head and try to figure out, okay, will this toon get enough AP in order to rush? With it being a flat amount, it's very easy to calculate. Clementine also has a special bound weapon, Clementine's Violent Crutch, with 30 attack, a medium bonus to AP when attacking, and she's able to apply crosshairs to the enemy. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure if we have crosshairs on a weapon yet, so she's kind of just like a decapitation toon without having to directly decapitate the toon, meaning she doesn't have to apply the killing blow for that toon to die and never come back again. We move on to Clementine as an S-Class toon. Her leadership skill stays relatively the same. I expected an attack boost of more than 25% as an S-Class. Even it being bumped up to 30% or 35% would have been nice, but the minus 25% defense has been increased for 4 turns at the beginning of each wave. Her rush also does 800% damage now instead of 600%, but it stays at 76 AP. So she stayed relatively the same. Slight increases, which, I'm kind of surprised at just because As of late, Scopely has been keeping 6-star and S-class version of Toon's leadership skills and rushes and active skills about the same, so this is kind of a nice change. Her active skill is still that high turn 3 active skill, but she gets an additional turn of focus. As a 6-star, it was 2 turns, and now it's 3 turns. It would have been nice to also see the 3 teammates getting 30 AP instead of 20 AP, just as a nice change up, but overall, I would still say she's a pretty decent Toon. We jump over to her weapon. Her bound weapon stays the exact same as her 6-star weapon, which I believe is pretty typical between the 6-stars and S-class Toons, so this I was not surprised at. And now we can move on to one of my favorite parts, theory building. So in this theory build, we have to pretend that Camilla is actually Clementine. So I don't have an 8% weapon on her because Clementine cannot hold an 8% weapon, so I'm just trying to stay consistent as well as realistic. So Camilla does have a plus 40% attack to all melee Toons, as well as a huge bonus to AP when attacking. Her weapon is not an 8% AP weapon as mentioned before, so she is kind of just my placeholder for Clementine. The next Toon that's on my team is 5-star Kate, and you might think this is an interesting choice, but I'm using her because of her awesome rush. Because Clementine as a lead can do minus 25% defense to all enemies, Kate is going to give my team that plus 50% attack to all my teammates. The focus is an extra ability that is not necessary. Now, for this specific team to work, Kate has to have this plus 20% AP bonus to self, as well as a huge bonus to AP when attacking. This is just because her AP is at 56, so if I ended up running 3 8% AP weapons, that would be 5 AP each, or 15 AP, plus 10 from a huge bonus, plus 10 from the lead skill, and plus 20 base. It would be 55 AP, or 1 AP short of her being able to be command rushed. Moving on, we have a command Toon. It just has to be a yellow command Toon because we need this yellow command Toon to hold that special 8% AP weapon. That AP weapon is very important to have here because Arav is going to need that extra AP in order to rush on the first turn. On this team, we need a second command Toon because we're going to be commanding Kate as well. We want Kate to be able to rush on the first turn for that plus 50% attack bonus, but we also want Arav getting that extra boost so that he can rush again on that first turn as well. So Nick is holding an 8% AP weapon. This could be any yellow Toon though. Now, unfortunately, my Arav is not set up properly for this team. He does not have a 5-star weapon, so I can't switch on a 20% AP to self. But just so you guys understand the math behind this, because he has 66 AP, an 8% AP weapon for him would give him an additional 6 AP. So by running 2 of 8% weapons, that means he gets 12 AP to start. This 20% AP weapon to self would give him 14 AP. And since he has a huge bonus on his weapon, as well as a huge bonus from the lead skill, that's an additional 40 AP to make a total of 66 AP, the exact amount he needs to rush on the first turn. So in theory, I'm hoping that the plus 25% attack bonus from Clementine lead, the minus 25% defense debuff to the enemy, and then the additional plus 50 attack from using, and then adding, say, plus 10% damage on the rush to the 4th slot on the Arav weapon when it's a 5-star weapon, and maybe for the Toon that's in a line with him, giving them a weapon that increases all teammates in a line their attack by 12%. I think that could be very effective for Arav in this case. With Clementine, we could also add on Team Player onto her weapon in the 5th slot, so that she's able to give that additional plus 15% attack to all teammates that are adjacent to her. So now to kind of see this team in action, we can command rush Kate to start the match off. So this gives everyone that plus 50% attack bonus. There would be minus 25% defense to the enemy, so Arav would be pretty effective here. He's able to be command rushed. So really, in all likelihood, you're likely to kill maybe 4 Toons on the first turn. But we have to remember that Clementine also has a very high attack stat, so she has a chance to actually kill the enemy as well. This won't work against every single defensive team, but I do think that there's a lot of promise with it, especially with all the ways that you can buff someone's attack now. and that defensive debuff that Clementine provides is really unique. So I'd be really interested to see how a team like that would be in practice, with the proper tunes, of course. Now, there is a heavy amount of weapon tokens that are needed, but we already kind of knew that. And in other videos, I think I mentioned how a Rav with a 20% AP to self can rush on the first turn, actually rush 3 times because of the follow-up ability. So I think that there is a lot of promise with a team like this. Anyway, let me know in the comment section below if you're going to be pulling on Clementine and how you plan on running her. Thank you again everyone for watching and listening to my video. I hope you found this to be informative.